Hello.
Hello. Oh, we both say Tanya.
Oh yeah. So how many people have been showing mostly?
We've had about 10 recently, so it's been okay numbers. We're doing
Yeah.
okay. I just always will give it a couple minutes
Oh,
while
absolutely.
jump on and then I'll do a little intro for you and let you take it from there.
Okay, sounds good.
I don't know if it matters to you or not, but if you want to click the three dots in the corner, you're able to rename yourself.
Oh, okay.
People will know you're not Tanya.
Yeah.
Sophie, I just saw your email. I was driving. I was on the road yesterday, so I will get back to you on that.
Okay, no worries. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'll stay on a couple minutes after I do the intro and just make sure everyone gets admitted all right. But Bill Derling is going to be teaching Capture More Leads today. He has been a real estate agent full time since 2017, and he is in the top 20% of the brokerage. So we want to make sure that we utilize his knowledge and ask all the questions we have about capturing your leads today. Like I said, I'll be on for a couple more minutes, just letting people into the room, but I'm going to let Bill take over from here.
All right. Hi, everybody. Excuse me. Thanks for being here today. My throat's a little bit froggy today, so I apologize if I have to clear my throat every once in a while. So, um, and yeah, I think that's it. This will be a little bit scattered, a little bit hectic. I'm not a very versed Zoom instructor. So, and pretty much always, if you have any questions or whatever, you can just interrupt, and that would be totally fine. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. All right. So because what I'm seeing on screen isn't what I was expecting, can you guys see the slide okay? You can? Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. Good, good, good. I am gonna, there we go. All right. So today we're going to be covering the topic of capturing more leads, which I think is probably important for everybody. And so far, you guys have been studying a little bit about contacting with your sphere, the people that you know and who know you. Those are clearly the most important people to keep in touch with, and they're going to be the bulk of your business. But there's other ways to get referrals or other ways to get leads and other ways to generate business, and we'll go over some of those today. You'll hear it over and over again that the more leads, the better, and the more quality leads converted to contacts, the better. So before we begin, well, actually, I don't think I'm going to go through this stuff because this is the success system with your instructors. So have you guys been enjoying Ignite? Have you guys been learning a lot from it? I'd just like to hear a little bit, since I only get to do one class a term with this. Like, has it been good? Allie, I know you. Have you been enjoying it? Has it been helpful? This is fairly static data that we're presenting. So is that challenging or is it good or?
No, it's been good. There's definitely a lot of good information. I think sometimes there's some parts that become a little bit repetitive.
Mhm.
And like you said, it's static, but like I also get it. That way it's like equitable for everyone who goes through the program. Um, but yeah, overall it's good. And I've been, I'd say I take away at least one thing, actionable thing for me to do each time, which
Okay.
I think is definitely worth it.
All right. Well, thank you for setting the bar really low for me. I appreciate that. So one thing, if we can all have one thing and we walk away, we'll be better off. All right, super. Uh, all right. So the agenda for today is to start thinking about what questions you might have. Well, I'm sorry, I'm trying to read this as we go, and this is just not my style. So um, what we're just going to go to the next one. Sorry about that. So here's something that Gary Keller said back on his Shift book, that you love people, but at the same time, you haven't yet learned to love hunting for them. Kind of a weird quote to me. And I think that if I could just replace hunting with searching for them, that's a little bit better. Does anybody else have any like reaction to this quote initially?
Isn't there like a play about like rich people hunting
Like
people in
hunting
the
the,
woods?
I think there's a book about it, actually. Yes, seems a little bit off, right?
Yeah.
So let's replace hunting with searching, or finding, maybe even better. So here's what the thing to learn about lead generation is to search for people who are able, ready, and willing to buy or sell real estate now or at some point in the future, which is pretty much everybody. So in this session, we'll learn more sources for leads, so you hopefully will never run out, and you will learn to love the search. So the objectives for today are to gain a deeper understanding of how to create and disseminate lead generating messages, and to be able to expand your referral strategies. And by the end of the session, hopefully you guys will choose your top 4 lead gen sources and lay out strategies and timelines to generate leads from those sources. I'm guessing in some of your other classes, you guys have already gone over some sources. So hopefully we'll get to some new ones today. All right, so we've said all along that Keller Williams is built on models and systems. So of course, there's going to be a system for capturing more leads. And hopefully you guys will discover that it will work. I mean, you won't know until you take it out to the real world and give it a shot. But it's definitely helpful. All right, so your number 1 job is to find ways to get in the path of motivated buyers and motivated sellers. So this is one of the things that's interesting in the whole aspect of promoting yourself is it's hard to get people to come to you all the time. You can do it, but it's difficult. So one of the strategies here is to find out where the people are and plop yourself in front of them. 15, 20 years ago, I studied internet marketing for a little while, and that was one of the big themes is online, there's always going to be a flow of people going to a particular place. And how do you find out where that place is, the hot new place, and how do you plop yourself in front of them and interrupt their process to notice you? It's not that different than here. Obviously, it's more interpersonal. It's going to be a lot more of a one-on-one kind of a thing oftentimes. But again, the idea is to find out a way to get into the path of the people who want to buy or sell. So our number 1 goal, our number 1 job as real estate agents is lead generation, because without leads, there's no sales and no business. So we have to be in the business of lead generation to be successful. Now, leads are everywhere, but we have to be a little bit alert and intentional about seeing them and finding them, because that's something that's a little bit hard sometimes. Lead generation should always be purposeful and intentional, like I just said. This slide depicts a system to help you make your lead generation more purposeful. We call this the message and method of your lead generation, or the 2 M's. I'm surprised there's not an acronym there. You may follow along in your participant guide if you want. It's page 3, I think. It's about having a message and using a method to drive the message to your desired audience. So the message must first match your market, and second, it must make an offer for immediate response. So match the market by tailoring the intended message to the sentiments and market conditions of a target group in the area in which you operate. So, for example, we're in Eugene. Actually, can I see your show of hands? Who's in the Eugene area? Who's in Salem? Who's in Portland? Who's in Eugene? Who's in Salem? Who's in Portland? Sophie, where are you?
Klamath Falls.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
All right. So you have OIT down there. So
yeah.
So what's one of the things, as far as like tailoring the intended message to your market, what things in your area, what things in your local community are going to be tailorable? So think about that a little bit. Sports, schools, that kind of thing. Camping, hiking, whatever you do in your area that might allow you to tailor your messages a little bit. And then the second part of that is to have a call to action that can be direct. Call me now, give me a call. or possibly indirect, look at my website for more information. That's something that my wife is a real estate agent, also run a team together. And whenever I'm doing our postcard marketing, she's always like telling me, don't forget to put the call to action in there. Got to put the call to action in there. And sometimes I just don't want to, but you know. So what in your area could be an offer that would generate a response? What do you think would make your phone ring or generate someone going to your website?
One thing Allison always mentions is offering like a free CMA just to get your name out there. So I plan on doing that for Halloween on my I'm going to put little cards on goodie bags and say,
Okay.
Let me tell you how much your house is worth, just to get my name out there.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. So here's a couple of things that they throw out here in the training. A message that says, hey, this awesome house just came on the market. If you're looking for a home in this neighborhood, call me right away. Or interest rates are the lowest ever. If you're considering buying now or thinking about refinancing, I can put you in touch with a lender who can help. Or do you know about the prices of homes in your neighborhood or in any area of town? I've got just the report for you. Call, text, or visit my website to sign up. So those are some options as far as just kind of ideas we can throw out, and we'll get to a bunch more here shortly. So that would be the message. Now the method, there are two primary methods of getting your message out to your target group: prospecting and marketing. Now those were covered earlier at the beginning of the leads generation segment. Whoops, hold on a second. I gotta let some more people in. Okay. Actually, I need to keep that up probably. Okay. Want to say hello to the people who are just joining us. Julie and Teresa, good to see you guys. Or to see your ceiling. Anyway. So the two, like I said, the two primary methods of getting your message out to your target group are prospecting and marketing, which were covered earlier. So we're only going to be covering additional prospecting sources today. So when you're truly on the hunt for leads, you'll find many opportunities. So let's say, for example, you're at a coffee shop and you overhear a couple talking about an open house they just visited. What would you do? This is where we figure out who are the type A's and who are the D's and who are the I's and who are the S's and who are the C's. You're hearing a conversation right beside you about real estate. What do you do?
I would jump in. I would say, I've also seen that house on the market. It looks fabulous. If you want to go check it out or check out ones that are similar, the other ones that are similar, please let me know.
Okay.
Give me my card.
Good. Anybody else that bold?
I'm not.
Good. It's good to know yourself. It's really important. There's room for all personalities in the industry for sure, 100%. But it's good to know yourself and to choose which models you're going to follow and which systems you're going to follow that work for you. All right. So in this situation, what they're recommending is follow this simple system to approach and connect and to ask. So first, approach with a conversation starter. So for example, I overheard you talking about an open house. Are you looking for a home in the area? Or even a little bit less direct would be, oh, which house was that? I'd like to see it too. So that way they're giving you something first before you're asking them if they're looking for a home. The second thing would be to connect with the individuals in a way that builds rapport and trust. One of the best ways is with questions. So look for opportunities to be of service to them. So for example, hey, I have a list of all the homes for sale in this area. I'd love to connect with you so you can stay informed of what comes on the market. Probably not going to happen in the first 2 minutes of your conversation, but if you end up seeing them the next day, or maybe you end up having coffee with them if they're interested in what you're saying, that's great. Then finally, if appropriate, ask to meet with them to learn more about the situation. And that's when you're actually beginning to do the interview process of what it is that they need. So are you guys familiar with the Ford method? Have you guys talked about that in the past? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and copy something into chat if I can figure this out quickly. Hold on just a second. Go. All right, so the Ford method is just a strategy of talking to people about things that they're comfortable about. So their family, their occupation, recreation, what do they like to do in their off time, and then their dreams. And so by asking these questions, it gives you a good basis for them to respond in a safe manner where they don't have to feel like you're digging too much. Gets the conversation started. All right, so that's the first section here. This is kind of early, but are there any ahas so far?
I have a question, Bill.
Yeah.
You mentioned the personality types, and I know I've heard about it. Is there a link to that so I can?
Yeah.
I haven't actually done it.
Has anybody else not done the disc profile yet?
I don't think I have either.
Okay. I'll try to get Mara to send that out to you guys. Because I think we have one internally with Keller Williams, and if not, there's online resources where you can test those. And it's interesting too, because the disc it's kind of, most personality tests are very similar. 4 or 5 different types. And so the disc is basically the D is your dominant, your kind of go-getters, aggressive, that kind of person. Type A's. The I's are the people who just like to have fun. It's all about enjoying the time. The S's are like the majority of the population are S's. They want things to be steady and kind of safe. They just want things to kind of work and not be too stressed out. And then the C's are the people who are like your CPAs, people that like really, really detailed information, your engineers. And so when you're talking to people, if you can get an idea of what type of person they are, you can kind of tailor your response so that you can keep the conversation going. You're not trying to manipulate them in the sense that you're trying to like get them to do something, but you're trying to engage with them in a manner that they're comfortable. So I'm an SC, so I don't fit the traditional stereotype of a real estate agent or a salesperson. But I know that if I'm talking to somebody who's a D and I want to go through the contract with them in detail, because I'm the C side, I want them to make sure they know everything. Now, we have to review everything, but there are some clients that literally just want to sign the paperwork. They trust you, they know you, they've done work with you before. Just, where do I sign? So that's a D. They just want to get going and get it done. Whereas the I would be like, when can we go have a party somewhere? And so you just have to we all have those aspects of the personality inside of us. Oh, hold on a second. I'm going to admit somebody else. We all have those personality aspects inside of us. And so the idea is to tap into that a little bit when you're reflecting the conversation to the DISC personality. So you're not faking it, but you are adjusting your own, the aspects of your own personality to better fit with them. Okay. That was a long answer, Ellie. I am so sorry about that. My goodness. But I have it to do now, so that's good.
Thank you.
So, gosh. You can interrupt me to say go faster too. That's all right. I don't mind. So, okay. So the next thing is going to be prospecting versus marketing. We already did this. We'll go a little bit deeper, I guess, into the topic. So lead generation is a contact sport with simple rules. It means making contact with people through prospecting and marketing. Pretty much what it says right there. So does anybody see anything in that quote that they disagree with? Okay, fair enough. So you guys have seen this chart before, right? I think. And so everybody that you know is going to be in, close that, is going to be in this chart somewhere. The question is, are they at the top, at the bottom, or somewhere in between? Everybody's timeline and life experiences are different. It's your job to do your best to predict or to understand where they are in this process. Now, one thing to point out is that this 7 to 10 year range that they have listed here is probably expanded now from when this was first published. So people are tending to stay a little bit longer and remodel a little bit more at this point because moving is so expensive. Either you've got good equity and a low rate and you don't want to lose it, or it's just too expensive to buy again if you have something. That's if you own, if they're a seller. So do you only prospect leads that are on their way up, on the upslope? People that are moving towards buying or possibly selling? No, sorry. Every lead that you get, that you can build a relationship with is a potential buyer and a seller in the future. And in addition to that, even if they're not, they could be a referral source. They might have a family member, a neighbor, a friend who might need to buy or sell at some point. And referrals are a great way to get business. When you get a couple cheerleaders in your corner after having a couple good transactions, they're really helpful. So who do we prospect for and when? We prospect for everybody all the time. Okay. Pretty much, I mean, obviously if they're a minor, you don't want to do that. But if they're any kind of professional, out of school kind of a thing, then definitely we want to do that. So, oops, sorry. Very touchy. All right, so this was in session 5, and it's here again to remind you of the 2 methods for lead generating, prospecting and marketing, and that your business should be prospecting based and marketing enhanced. So does anybody remember why it's better to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced?
Well, prospecting is more specific, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like more towards your intended target, I guess.
Yep.
Okay. And marketing is more general.
Yes. And
like
generally speaking,
I've been thinking about putting my face in the bowling alley here. So that would be more marketing versus
that would be marketing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because so with marketing, I'll just read what it says here. That'll be good. So prospecting is essentially free and simply requires your time to complete. Going to the places you normally go. If you go to the gym, if you're in hiking groups, if you have a faith community of some kind, if you love going to football games, whatever it is, whatever those places are going to be places that are going to be possibilities for you to prospect because you're going to be in person, face to face, meeting people, talking about things. Marketing costs money, and it's more of a wait and see method. While prospecting builds a business that will thrive in down markets because you still have those relationships. Our last 2 sessions were about open houses and social media. Prospecting helps support awareness and lead generation around your open houses, and social media can be a prospecting tool as well as a tool for marketing. It can be both because you do have the option to DM people directly and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so if you go to your, I guess it's page 6 in your participant guide, there's a list of prospecting resources, which is actually different here, I think. Sorry, I've got your guide here as well, and it does not look like it's quite the same as what we have on screen here, unless I missed something, which is definitely, oh, there it is, lower half of page 5. Okay, so there's a lot of prospecting sources to share your messages through. So have you guys tried any of these? I don't know how long you guys have been licensed.
I have been licensed since February, and from May, I've tried to do open houses basically every weekend. So that's been good. Yeah, that's been my, and I've closed 4 transactions, and 2 of them were my sphere, and the other 2 are 2 I actually gained from open houses.
Excellent.
So those were huge for me. I have a question. I drove past a for sale by owner the other day, and what would be your like, do you just knock on their door and give them your card, or?
If you want to go after the for sale by owner, I would absolutely, a couple things I would do first is I would try to research it. I would pull up the address and I would try to figure out exactly, like, has it been listed by somebody like a professional before and they were unhappy with them? Or how long have they, look it up in your local county records and see how long they've been there and that kind of thing. But yeah, absolutely. You can go ahead and just go knock. Now, if you need to be at that point taking something of value to them.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you're going to be knocking and asking for their business, because odds are they've had that call a lot. And knocking is better than calling because, in my opinion, because you have more freedom in the engagement process, I guess. If you know that they're angry, you can just walk away quickly. But if there's something that you can do at that point to just say, hey, I'm just going to give you this little thing that might help you, sell it by yourself. Like, how do you improve the curb appeal? Because the front of your house looks nasty or whatever, just things like that. Bring some kind of value. Or if you have some things that need to be repaired, here's some good contractors.
Okay.
Bring
Awesome.
value first and then see how that conversation plays out.
I have clients who want to look at the house, so I was kind of trying to get them into the house and then possibly give them my card during that transaction.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if a for sale by owner, do they like working with agents?
You'd have to ask them.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry about that. Okay.
Yep. You would just have to ask them and say, will you work with an agent or a represented? I would say will you work with a represented buyer?
Okay.
And then also would you be contributing anything to that, to your commission? Because you need to know that too, because that's going to affect the offer if they liked it. But yeah, having somebody, an actual valid person who really does want to see the house is you're in for sure.
Yeah.
Just go knock. In fact, if there's probably gonna be a phone number on it there, on the for sale by owner sign, you can call if you want to.
I've called and texted, but they haven't responded, which kind of makes me think they're not interested in working with an agent. So I was gonna just give the number to my clients, but
yeah, I mean, maybe like a lot of people also, like, if they've never done it before, they're kind of nervous, they're kind of scared, they don't really know what to say. You just don't really know until you have that first contact.
Okay.
So
okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So has anybody done anything else besides open houses? I know, Allie, you've done a bunch of open houses in Eugene, right?
Yeah, I also do them about every weekend.
Yeah.
I've done some circle prospecting in my neighborhood. I've tried a bunch of things out just to kind of see like what worked. I feel like I finally found my rhythm and what really works for me for open houses because I'm starting to see more success with that. I start volunteering in my kids' PTO, so I'm involved in that now, which is nice because I can show up for a PTO meeting and also wear my shirt. So like I'm getting that brand awareness. I've done door knocking, which wasn't my favorite. And no one likes it, but my kid was with me. It just happened to work out that way, and people actually answer the door for him. So if I do it, I bring him with me. I kind of use my kid to help get people talking, which is nice. I've done a first-time homebuyer course last month, and I'm doing another one this month. And then I go to a lot of networking events.
Okay.
And I connect with a lot of different people in different industries. This morning I actually met with a life coach, which is great because we're going to start working together because it seems like people who would use our services are kind of at similar places in life.
Oh, that's great.
Usually big change involved when you go to a life coach. So I'm pretty excited to see how that is going to kind of play out.
Okay. Yeah, so I think one of the things to keep in mind here, as far as this kind of thing goes, especially since you mentioned the life coach and the networking events and stuff, is you're setting the groundwork at that point for future business. Make those relationships, and just kind of go from there. So the more people you can engage with, honestly, the more people you can engage with, then definitely it's a good thing. So if you had a question.
Well, I was just going to say, I was reading the list and I got down to key relationships and it says banks or whatever. And I made a huge connection with the great lender here in Klamath Falls, Jason Gallegos, and he has been huge for my business. He's great for referrals. I can put his number in the chat if you guys need a lender to work with, but he has been I've learned a lot from him. So that connection has been huge for my business.
It's great. Yes. your lenders are super important. And so and the main thing with them, in my opinion, is, what lender do you actually trust? Like, who would you send your grandma to? And then treat your clients with the same kind of respect. So, you guys notice there's something missing from this list? Has to do with when the book was originally published. There's no social media. But the models still work. Okay. All right. So how do you think it's best to approach prospecting? Do you think it's best to select several sources to try at once? Which I think so. Allie, you said you did that. Or is there a source that would be best to start out with and follow through? So it sounds like Allie, you kind of dialed in a little bit, which is good. And Sophie, you've dialed in also on open houses. Does anybody else have thoughts on that?
I've only been licensed for 2 months, but
Okay.
I kind of been doing the same thing, just trying out what I like and what fits into my lifestyle, I guess, you know? So if I have time to like door knock, I will do that once in a while, or if I have time to do more cold calling is what I do, or I get on social media since I'm there on sometimes I'll just message on Facebook. But those are like the main three things I do, and then open houses on the weekend, which
Okay.
is like what fits into my schedule. But
Good.
basically, I just do whatever kind of just fits into my schedule.
Good. Excellent. One of the things that my wife and I did earlier this year, maybe last year, is we went through our entire history of sales, and we mapped out where that person had come from. Hold on a second. I let somebody else in. And the majority were from our sphere, but the second highest number was from open houses. People we just met cold at the open house, and then we made a relationship with there, and then they were willing to engage with us in the future. So, it sometimes feels like it's not very helpful because everybody, generally speaking, people don't really want to give you a lot of information the first time you see them at an open house. But it does work if you can capture their data and just make that initial connection of, hey, I'm okay. You can trust me. That's really important. So, okay, so Keller Williams did do a survey of their top agents, and they found these two things. That the top agents focus on their top 4 sources, and they get their best ROI that way. So they pick 4 of these things. And that the top sources usually are repeats and referrals from their sphere of influence, SOI, and their database. So again, the reason we harp so much on leads and getting people into your database is because the database, once you get more than a few hundred people in there, is your primary way of keeping in touch with people, because it becomes really, really a lot of overhead to do it manually. If you have 600 friends on Facebook that you're trying to actually engage with on a regular basis, or Instagram, or whatever. I don't TikTok, so my apologies. So, okay. All right. So which other sources would you consider doing? So you've already got your SOI, right? You've already got the open houses, a bunch of you. I've heard door knocking and cold calling too, which is great. You guys are doing awesome, connecting with other professionals, which is great. Is there anything else in here that looks promising, I guess, to you guys?
I like the idea of doing a booth with the holidays coming up. There's a lot of events in my small town over in Klamath Falls. So, and Allison mentioned yesterday, even splitting the cost of a booth with another agent. So it's not so heavy on you. And then you can take breaks if you need to, if it's a 16-hour, full weekend event or something. I like the idea of that. So I've been looking more into events locally.
The lender is also a great solution for that.
Oh yeah, that's smart too.
They will oftentimes, they're any other, or an insurance agent, any other professional that's kind of having to go out and get their clients the same way we do, is beneficial for everybody that way. So why don't you just, oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, for my first time home buyer class in October, we're doing it at a restaurant. I'm doing it with a lender, but an insurance agent is paying for the space and all the food and for the advertising. He's going to pick up the cost for that. So that's why
Wow.
we were able to do all that, is that's not coming out of our pocket.
Okay, I'm gonna give Ellie the host permission here, and she's just gonna finish this up. Because no,
Sorry.
we actually we have had that, we did that way back in the beginning too. So it's yeah, it's and the hard thing I think for a lot of agents is, that it tends to be feast or famine, right? And so you're doing well. And so because you're doing well and you have business and you have this fiduciary responsibility that we all take so seriously to our clients, that's where all of our time and energy goes. And then those all close. And then you have to start the process all over again. So as you stay in the industry, and hopefully you all will, that's something that's really a challenge for, like, even for me and my wife, to just like keep doing this stuff so that the business continues to be steady. So, but yeah, that's a great comment, great resources there. All right. Is there anything in here? Okay, I'm just gonna burning time here, but is there anything in here that you guys just would not do? Like, you look at that and you're like, I am not gonna do that.
I hate door to door. I hate door knocking.
Okay.
Gives me so much anxiety. I hate walking up on people's properties. It's just not something I was raised to not do that. So it's just, I've decided I'm just going to do open houses every weekend instead of door knocking.
Yep. Okay. Good. Know yourself, right? And for real. Ray, which one of these? I saw Ray come in. Ray, which one of these would you not do under any circumstances?
I've done all of them.
Oh, good for you. Overachiever. We're raising Eugene too, you guys. So that's how I.
Yeah.
That's,
Well, like I've done all of them. I've even gone into hospitals just to pass out flyers. I think that one's a really big missed opportunity. It really is.
Might
Like
get thrown out
most
too. I don't
most
know. We'll
nurses,
see.
most healthcare workers aren't getting that many things that are like aidful towards their lives. So if you bring in pamphlets that are like disclosing services sales, like proprietary services for them, where you're giving them a discount, I think it works out really well.
Well, and going back to partnering with the lenders at that point, there are certain lenders that do have discounts for medical, for fire, for police, and so
We
that's
have the
something
Heroes program for mortgage, which I just learned about yesterday, meeting with a lender,
Mhm.
which I was excited about because I had no idea about. But that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's all these little niche things to find and discover. So great. All right. So here are a list of marketing sources for comparison. So we've got your offline advertising, which is all the old stuff like radio and TV and newspapers, but some cool stuff like personal vehicles. You see branded vehicles all the time. Billboards, those are still pretty popular. Grocery carts, bowling alleys, right, Sophie? And online advertising, so pay-per-click, SEO, social media, portals, that kind of thing, paying for, your information on Zillow or Redfin or whatever. Broadcast and content creation, radio segments, TV shows, social media there again, YouTube, blogs, that kind of content creator type stuff. And then direct mail, so postcard campaigns, special events we've talked about, just sold, just listed, quarterly market updates. There's something called EDDM, which basically you can send a postcard to every household in a particular neighborhood for a reduced rate. That's directly through the post office. Swag. Does anybody have any fun swag? Has anybody purchased any swag to hand out?
I just made my logo.
Oh, excellent. Good job. Logos are fun.
Yeah.
And a waste of time if you're not careful, but they're fun. So you have to, because Ray will be coming with swag soon. Anybody else?
I have t-shirts. I made mugs, and so I gave them to some friends who work in offices to plant them in their break rooms.
Okay, excellent.
That's just top of mind for their entire office. And then I'm also a swimmer, so I'm making a custom cap.
Oh, there you
Because
go.
it's like one of the things swimmers do is you look at everyone's caps to see what races and stuff they've done, and it kind of becomes like a conversation
Oh.
starter. And then I have like, I don't know, I have a bunch of whole like little flyers that are kind of multi-purpose. So I made them into fans. So we went to the US Olympic trials. I made fans out of them because it was super
Mhm.
hot and I brought extras. And so when people were like, where did you get that fan? I'm so hot. I just handed it over to them and it had all my information on it.
Nice. So we have some great ideas for our swag here. News releases and advice columns. Now, this is something I don't know of anybody who does much. Like I said back in when I was looking into internet marketing a little bit, this was a definite strategy. And so, using the news release mechanism to talk to people about your business or about a new partnership that you have or something like that. And then sponsorships. Sponsorships are so much fun, but I don't know that in my experience, they don't necessarily give you much ROI. My son, who is now 22, at one point looked at me and he said, "Sounds to me like a sponsorship is just a way to give money to people you like, or organizations that you like." And I was kind of like, yeah, that might be right. So we've cut back on that a little bit. Oh, sorry about that. Keep doing that. So marketing generally has more expenses related to it than prospecting. So Command does allow you an easy way to set up Facebook advertising for a relatively low cost. And you can learn about that in answers.kw.com and search for the Ignite reference guide there. So actually, I think I have that somewhere too for you guys. Kind of. You guys probably know all this stuff already, so my apologies for.
What was you said answers at kw.com? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I just put it into the chat.
Oh, okay.
So actually, I'm going to put the rest of the things that might come up in the chat also, just so that they're there. And then we're going to be talking about this one near the end. This one's kind of fun. Okay, so back to it here. All right, now there are some things that do both prospecting and marketing. They can be a combination, or they can lean one way or another depending on the situation. So these are some of those. Your geographic farming, your events can be both, networking can be both, that kind of thing. So let's see. The most common prospecting method to use with open houses, we've talked about open houses a lot, is door knocking. It's your number one opportunity to make the neighborhood aware of the open house and to invite neighbors to the open house to meet you, to see an active listing in the neighborhood, and perhaps refer a buyer to you. That's if you're lucky. But what it does do, how many people when you do an open house have heard of or have actually had a special open house just for the neighbors? There are some agents that do that. They'll have it open an hour early just for the neighbors to get all the looky-loos that just want to see the inside of their neighbor's house to come through first. But it does give you one other touch point with those neighbors, if that's a neighborhood that you want to be involved in. And of course, door knocking is lead generation. So that's part of the core function of an agent.
How do you advertise that? Like when on your open house flyer, would you just say first hour is basically for nosy neighbors?
That's a door knocking and handing out postcards.
Okay, that's the only
Literally
way
go the day before. Yep.
Okay.
Some people do it the same day of and invite them to the open house because they just want more people to come through, which is fine also.
Yeah.
But to actually go and touch base with the neighbors, saying, and especially if it's a place where there's like a really narrow street, or there's could be problems with traffic if it's a popular location, just say, hey, we're gonna have an open house tomorrow from 1 to 3. Wanted to let you know. You're more than invited to come by, of course. So just being respectful of the neighborhood. So any ahas on this one? Nope. Okay.
No, but I feel like the best aha I had from these neighborhood talks was from Tamara. She just said, just hand the flyer and then say your words. Don't say your words and hand the flyer.
Right. Hand it first.
Yeah.
Make them take it before they know what it is. That's the key.
Yeah.
So, all right, super. Okay, so now we're going to talk about referrals. So referrals are a gold mine, or they can be. So many agents miss out on referrals, but they can be an easy and lucrative source of leads. Now, imagine if leads simply came to you as referrals from your sphere, or your family, or coworkers, or neighbors, or Allie, other professionals, and Sophie too. You guys have made those connections. So we'll talk about the different types of referrals and the systems to put in place to make the most of them. Excuse me. Hold on a second. I told you I had a frog. So we're going to be looking at client referrals, agent to agent referrals, worldwide referrals, and business to business referrals. As we mentioned earlier, top agents rely on their sphere and their clients as their greatest source of referrals. Some agents even get up to 90% of their business from referrals. So it begins with setting the expectation with your sphere that your business runs on referrals and that you trust them to provide referrals of people that they know who have a real estate need. There's more to it than that, though. Set the expectation, and then you have to provide the value. You must be deserving of the referral. So the relationship with your sphere and your clients is meant to be reciprocal. You provide value, they trust you, they know the value you provide, and so they are comfortable referring you to their family and friends. And that value exchange just goes on and on. So what are some other, there's 3 ways that they have listed here. Share your KW app as far as value goes, share your market statistics, and provide a vetted vendor list. Is there anything else you guys can think about or that comes to mind as a value to clients? Okay, this time I'm going to ask for a show of hands. Does anybody have trouble kind of explaining what their value proposition is? It's okay. I do sometimes. I really do. It's like there's a bunch of good agents in our office. What's my value proposition? That's something worth spending some time thinking about, right? It's like you're asking your friends and your family to refer people to you, which reflects back on them. So what can you tell them that you know is true that makes you valuable in that situation? Could be that you study super hard. You've got experience as you get more experience. It could just be that you're going to take care of them better than anybody else will. Or it could be that you have a different skill set than most agents for some reason. Just kind of think about that. So, you know, what kind of value can you bring so that people who are referring to you are super comfortable with it? Because it is a huge benefit to get referrals from your sphere, because your sphere will just continue growing at that point.
I honestly brag about Keller Williams when
Okay.
I say, I talk about my brokerage and the knowledge I've gained, and because I am a new agent, so I talk about the agents that I can talk to or ask questions, or how many people I have helping me right now. So
Okay.
I know you're trusting the newbie, but the newbie has veterans behind her that are there to help her.
Okay. Super. Okay, so getting referrals, in addition to that, I mean, isn't just asking for them, not one time. So this is a hard thing too. It says that the instructions that we get for success in this in this particular segment is to continue asking. Let them know that your business depends on their referrals, especially when you've done something that benefits them. So whenever there's a moment when a client expresses gratitude or they're happy and excited about something that you've provided for them in this professional field. So at the consultation, the contract, close of a transaction, pretty much any time when the client is happy is a valid time to say, hey, you know, do you know anybody else who I can help? So don't be too shy about doing that, about asking. All right, so here's a couple of sample conversation starters in your participant guide. Don't know where that is exactly. Oh, here we go, page 7. All right, who of you actually, I mean, these are funny because different personalities do different things, right? But my goal by the end of the transaction is for you to be so thrilled you'll tell everybody about me. Or who do you know that would like an experience like you've had? Or if I've provided a stellar experience, it would be the greatest gift if you refer me to friends, family, and coworkers so I may provide them with the same experience. So take those ideas, change the language a little bit, make it your own, make it your own personality. And those are some good ins for asking for referrals. So when you receive a referral, whether the referral turns into business or not, it's important to reward the behavior of the person providing the referral. This could be as simple as a gift card for coffee. Treat the referral source even better than you treat the referral. So I think that's important too to point out that if you're going to give a gift for a referral, legally you need to give the gift regardless of whether or not that turns into business. Because if you get business, if you only give referral gifts to people that give you business that closes, then you're basically paying them for a real estate transaction, and you can't do that. So try to get into the habit of rewarding a referral right away before you even know if it's going to become business or not. And I'm not a lawyer, by the way, so I should not have said that probably. A lot of agents track the people who provide referrals by marking them in their database and continuing to reward them throughout the relationship. Same thing for repeat customers. You know, we have limitations in what we can give to clients as gifts. But if somebody's been blessing you a lot over the years with a lot of business, treat them to something special, even if it's out of pocket. One thing that they really want to encourage us to do is write a special handwritten note to somebody who refers you. Another option would be to have special events for the top refers. And that will be easier, of course, to do as you become more later in your career. So it says, oh, sorry, that is really touchy. It says that there is a session called Fill Your Funnel with Client Referrals in the series entitled No Ceiling, Level Up Your Lead Generation on Connect. I was not able to find that, so I apologize. I don't have a link for you for that. But I will copy and paste if it will let me what it says it's called. I can't copy that. All right, you'll have to ask Mara. Sorry about that. I can't copy from that screen. Okay, so client referrals can come from more than your sphere. They can come from agents as well. You already know some agents in your market center. And in this class, and you'll meet agents from other brokerages while conducting your business. So you may wonder why an agent would refer a buyer or seller to you. So there's a couple different reasons. An agent in your own market center might be focused on just listings or just buyers, or they may not want to do both sides of a transaction. So that's one option. I actually had a call 2 weeks ago from an agent in our office who had a unrepresented client come to one of her who wanted to see one of her homes and was unrepresented, and she gave me a call. So that was fantastic. An agent might refer a client that's outside of the distance they're willing to work, even if it seems close by to you. An agent may specialize in a particular price point, like a luxury, or a neighborhood, or a type of home. Or an agent in another town, this is the most common, or state, has a client moving into your area and they refer their client to you. So you want to make sure you're top of mind with the agents that you know, so they think of you first. Keep in mind that you're competing with other agents for their attention, and you should be constantly thinking of creative ways to stand out and be different and be remembered. So many KW agents build their businesses with agent referral business, and you can too. And the way an agent referral works is when an agent refers a client to you, you agree to pay that agent a certain percentage of the commission and vice versa. So when you refer a client to another agent, they agree to pay you a percentage back. Referring clients that you cannot serve to other agents helps everyone, you and the other agent, and especially the client. So what you want to do is you want to grow your agent referral network. Now, of course, in Command, we do have that component of referring agents. And so I don't know if anybody's played with that or used it very much. When it first came out, everybody was asking everybody to be referral agents for them. So I have like 200 people that I've never met or talked to in my Command. But that's a good way of connecting with people there. And then you want to keep up to date with them. That's the hard part too, because as people come and go from the industry, because we still have a lot of turnover, it's kind of odd to have somebody, you call them up and find out they're no longer doing it. So you'll find an easy to use agent referral network on Command. We talked about that just a little bit ago. And you can track the referrals given and received all the way to close and getting paid. Other great resources for finding information about where people are coming from to get into your market and going from your market are the Census and the IRS. The US Census tracks this as domestic migration. That's what one of the links I put in there for you was for the North American van lines. Every year they do basically a domestic migration map with their data about moving people across country. So that's a good place to go and look things up and see who's coming, and going where as well. It's another resource. Okay, so worldwide referrals. Did you know that at the beginning of 2022, so this is old data, Keller Williams had a presence in 50 plus regions, including the US and Canada, and that agents worldwide can be referral partners as well. So be open to the possibility of leads from anywhere in the world. Add agents from our worldwide regions to your referral network. Think about the connections you have with countries outside of your own. What friends or family have connections elsewhere? Let's say you have a client who decides to sell their home and move to Puerto Rico for retirement. Instead of leaving your client to find an agent in Puerto Rico, you could look up KW agents in that area and refer your clients to them. It's a win-win-win for your client, for you, and for the other agent. So the next time you travel outside of the US or Canada, learn more about agent-to-agent referrals. Oh, sorry about that. There's another class that I couldn't find. So there's a couple classes in here. I'll try to look those up later. Additional classes about anchoring your business with agent referrals. So I'll pull that up later or ask Mara, I'll get it to you. Another source for referrals is business to business referrals. So I know that a couple of you guys have mentioned this already, that you've worked with other professionals, lenders, insurance agents, and that kind of thing. But who's thought about having a reciprocal referral agreement with a hairdresser or their barber or their dentist or their accountant, their repair shop, their gardener, landscaper? All of these people can be used as part of a reciprocal referral agreement. So they can send you business, you send them business, and everybody wins because you know that they're good and they know that you're good. All right, that was it for the client referrals and agent referrals, worldwide referrals, and business referrals. Any ahas on this one? Okay. Is everybody still awake? All right, moving on to the next. So earlier we talked about all the different prospecting sources as well as those sources that combine prospecting and marketing. So now we're going to cover geographic farming and events and seminars. A lot of agents choose to focus prospecting and marketing efforts in a specific neighborhood or maybe a set of neighborhoods, which is also known as a targeted geographic farm. Now, everybody's familiar probably with like Nextdoor, and a geographic farm is just basically that. It's the same thing as the neighborhoods that we have in Command. It's a targeted message going to a specific neighborhood. Now, one thing to be aware of with geographic farming is it will not probably yield immediate results. This tends to be a long game. You want to be looking at doing a farm for a year or so before you probably get your first business. So whatever process it is, make sure that you budgeted for the whole thing. because it's not something that one or two postcards or one or two whatevers, circle prospecting is going to generate business back initially. It will take a little bit of time. You also want to consider things such as the number of houses and the turnover rate in that neighborhood. Price point and several competing agents. So if there's, for example, there's certainly, if you know of a big agent in a particular neighborhood, likely they dominate that neighborhood. And so farming in that neighborhood would probably be pretty challenging because oftentimes they're pretty well established. But once you've chosen a farm area, you need to devote yourself to understanding that area, the history, the growth, the HOA, if there's an HOA, what happens there, if there's like seasonal neighborhood things, like some of the Crescent Meadows, for example, has a garage sale or had, I'm not sure they did it this year. Things like that. So you want to become part of the community and the people will come to recognize you as part of the community. It's easier to do if you live there for sure, but you don't have to. You are also committing to staying in communication with the residents and keeping them informed of everything that's happening in their area. So one thing that some people do is they'll go to the city websites and they'll see, oh, there's going to be road work on this street in, December. So in November, they'll send out postcards to people in that neighborhood along that road saying, hey, just so you're aware, there's going to be construction on your road. Just giving them a little bit more value, a little bit of something they would have seen when it happened, but they may not have known in advance. So what are some ways that you can maximize your prospecting and marketing efforts within that farm area? Well, think back to the lessons on open house and social media, and also consider your daily success system with conversations, adding contacts to your database, and sending handwritten notes. How can you make it all work well within a geographic farm? So who does handwritten notes here? Okay, Allie, you do. Alex, do you?
No, that's one of our homeworks to do 10 handwritten or 5 handwritten notes. I think it's
Right.
daily, but I haven't gotten into
It's
it
hard
yet.
to do. Yeah, okay. Ray, how about you?
Yeah.
Okay. Sophie's dipped out. Sophie's still there. Okay.
Sorry. I plan on doing them this holiday season when I send out things like that. I haven't really, with my open houses, I just do flyers and stuff like that. So I don't really personalize them. But like again, with this Halloween stuff, I was going to write on the back of them and personalize those a little bit. But
Okay. I'm gonna pick on everybody right now. Sung, how about you? Do you do any handwritten notes?
Well, actually, not really.
Not
Actually,
really?
this is my second day at KW.
Oh, your second day?
Yeah,
Oh, woohoo! Congratulations, welcome.
thank you.
Okay. Well, that's for next week then. We'll give you a couple days off.
So all these kind of things are very new to me and all new strategy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, hopefully you're learning some stuff.
I will.
So, Kimbella, how about you?
I'm kind of the same. It's like my second week at KW.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so everything is just very new to me too, and I'm just trying to take it all in.
I should have made everybody like change their name to like name dash how long they've been, licensed or at KW at least, because then at least we'd have an idea. Now, Teresa, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. So do you do any handwritten notes?
I'm sorry.
Do you do any handwritten notes?
Honestly, no, I don't know.
No? Okay. I'm not trying to like embarrass anybody. I'm just trying to find out because handwritten notes are unusual in our current climate. And so they will get you noticed more than regular mailings. In fact, it's such a difference that there's whole industries wrapped up around making things look like they're handwritten when they're not. If you get ads from Renewal by Anderson and they even have Post-it notes in there that look like they're handwritten on, they're not. There's a company that will, you can send them the text that you want and they have a CAD system that has an actual physical pen and that physical pen writes a physical message on a card and mails it out for you, all in an effort to make it look handwritten. Or you can just handwrite your own cards every once in a while, at least for the special people, and it does make a difference. So thank you. Julie, how about you? Do you do any handwritten cards?
No, not at the moment, but I do want to get into it.
Okay.
Um, I have a question though. So do you pick out a title company and then write the notes and then send them out?
You can do it. You can get a list of addresses from a title company. Absolutely. And that
Okay.
way, because there is some legal standing for people not wanting to get what they call junk mail. But anything that's got a first class stamp on it, my understanding doesn't qualify. So you could send it to anybody in that list. But you can do it that way. You can get lists from, for example, doing an event, like something that we did initially the first couple of years, is there's 2 neighborhoods in Eugene that have neighborhood-wide garage sales. They're huge. And so we had a booth at each one of those, and we had hundreds of people sign up because we had this nice big basket you could win. And then we had, in theory, at least, I won't say we did. In theory, we should have like handwritten notes to everybody that stopped by and just to introduce ourselves again.
Yeah.
We had their address, we had their contact information. They did get into our database, but we didn't do the personal touch part of it.
All
Does that
right.
help?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and if you don't have a relationship yet with a title company or a escrow officer, go ahead. Talk to the people around you and find out who they recommend. Like in the Eugene area, there's quite a few that are really good, and so you get to pick who fits with your personality best. So, okay. So as far as geographic farming goes, initially probably start with, because again, farming is something you need to do repeatedly over the course of time to have it generate business for you. So farming is a marketing technique primarily, initially at least, because you're spending money to put your name out there, hoping that they'll come to you. So depending on what your budget is, initially you may want to start with just a few houses. Something near where you live, or an area you want to live in, or maybe just an area where you used to live, so you know it really well. And then consider what you can handle for the long run for that first year. Proximity, so how close, the size of the farm, the cost of the farm. And then here's the other side of it. Door knocking is key to farming. So I'm kind of like, I think it was Sophie. I think, like, I don't like door knocking. My wife is really good at it, and I'm not. But door knocking is key to farming because you'll want to visit the neighbors and introduce yourself as a resourceful agent. Don't be pushy. Like Ray said, give them what you want to give them, and then use your words. Come from contribution and offer something of value. Okay.
Following up on that door knocking, do you guys door knock the same house like once a month maybe or once a quarter or something? Or do you just door knock every house in your farm?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if the door knocking in a geographic farm would be monthly or not. I'm gonna ask that question to people who I know who do it, and I'll try to get back with you.
Yeah,
So
I would
because
say
I've
probably,
been
I'd say probably feel out the neighborhood. Like if you go somewhere and everyone's just not interested, or you feel like you're being intrusive, probably never go back to that neighborhood. Or if someone's welcoming and they say, "Oh, I have been thinking about this, but I'm just scared," or whatever, then maybe hit them up sooner rather than later.
And one thing with door knocking in
makes sense.
particular is be super respectful of kind of the norms in that neighborhood, and be super respectful of if it's dark, don't do it. No one wants to have somebody they don't know knock on their door at night when it's dark. Like it's a weird vibe to give off as your initial vibe for somebody. So do it when it's light, do it when there's other people around, just make yourself as unassuming as possible in some ways. Allie, you mentioned doing it with your child. Lori did it one time for an open house, and it was brutally cold and wet. It was like 32 degrees and raining, and she went out and she door knocked. And everybody, when the weather's that bad, is so nice. because you're standing out there in the rain. She got offered tea 3 or 4 times, I think. You know, and so there's some strategy to that too, right? And so, but Alex, I will try to get you an answer on whether or not that should be, or what the best practice is for that, I guess. I have a playbook here. I'll look through it and see if there's anything about that. How's that sound? You guys seen the playbook?
Sounds good.
Is that the Gary Keller playbook?
Oh, sorry. There we go.
Yeah,
So
it's for
this-
sale right now on the Red Store.
Yeah, it's at the Red Store. It's not that much. It's like $25. And this is the new version of the MREA, basically. They're not going to reprint the main book.
I
So
checked
this-
yesterday too, and it was for sale for $15.
Yeah, so there's, sorry, it's fuzzing it out, but there's lots of good stuff in here. And I think most of the market centers have a copy. So if you just want to go and browse through their copy, that's probably totally fine too, and make some copies. So, okay, some other random ideas about geographic farming. Set up a discount with a local vendor for a neighborhood tree trimming, for example, or dryer vent, chimney cleaning, that kind of thing. The individuals will pay for their own service, but you'll get their contact information and you'll coordinate with the vendor and it will be discounted. So if you can do that, that's great. Or set up a neighborhood food drive where you can go around and you can pick up food for delivery to one of the local food pantries. Things like that. Think a little bit outside of the box, and especially if something's already in your wheelhouse, like if you already do stuff with the food pantries, if you already do stuff with whatever, that makes a lot of sense. So, okay. There's lots of reasons you can door knock too. Charity drives, community events, community activities. But, and this is the asterisk always nowadays, always keep safety in mind. Maybe go with somebody else who can like be close by in a car, or another agent that can go with you or whatever, or your child, I suppose, Allie, that would work. So.
Okay, for that though, for safety reasons, it was in my neighborhood.
Okay, good.
I
Yeah.
didn't just take them out to some random place. It was people who like see us walking around because we're always out on our bikes and walking to the park. So there
Yeah.
was like, they knew us. Just be clear, I'm not putting my child in danger. Just
No,
to-
no. Oh, that's funny. Diane Kokoska, who is very big and bold in Keller Williams, you know, that's how she got her business started, was she went out as a single mom with her toddlers in a stroller and knocking doors. And so, you know, it's takes a bold person for sure.
The park is a great place to make connections to. I have a 1-year-old, and the park has been handy for
Yeah.
real estate.
Great. If you have a dog, we've met more people walking our dog in the past few years in the neighborhood. It's amazing. And so yeah, there's lots of different ways you can I say get in with people, but really you just want people to know who you are, right? And then to know what you do. That's kind of what you're looking for. And as far as the safety goes too, you know, there are some safe things built into your the Safe Showings app that you can get. And like for Lori and I, we have Life 360 on our phones, so we can track each other. So if I know she's going to be door knocking somewhere, I can just make sure that she keeps moving every 10 minutes or or so. And if she's at a place for 45 minutes, I'll text her and say, you know, or whatever, say, you okay? And she's usually having tea with somebody. So. All right, 2 final sources of leads are through events and seminars. So you might not feel prepared or qualified, and yet these can be very lucrative leads. So events are just get-togethers organized and or hosted by you, and successful agents are very creative when it comes to events. Events are meant to attract leads and don't have to relate directly to real estate. So here are some ideas for some events. Neighborhood park cleanup. Ask people to join you. Supply bags, gloves, and water bottles. It's even better if they're branded, folks. Ask for addresses to send thank you notes to. And here's what I like. I haven't done this, but I really like the idea. Family front porch photos. So set up dates. You can do this in a park actually, instead of on their front porch, but set up dates and times with people who want to participate. Have a photographer take the photo, and then text them the photo or send it by mail. And bingo, you've got enough contact information to get them into your database. Or virtual game nights. I don't know how this one would go over. Invite via social media, get names and contact info, and have fun. Virtual game nights. So like doing a World of Warcraft thing. maybe.
Gosh, you still play World of Warcraft?
I don't.
Oh,
I play Magic though. My son got me into that a little bit.
I lost track of that one.
All right. So seminars are also great leading. Did I just move it? Sorry. Where'd it go? Oh, here we go. Seminars are also a great way to diversify your database while you expand it. There are underserved communities in every region, every location. So what if you intentionally learn about those underserved communities and then set up seminars to serve them specifically? We have a lot of examples of agents who have built their businesses helping those that no one else was serving to become homeowners and investors. And I don't think there was anything intentional about the fact that they weren't being served. It just didn't fit for some reason. So for example, an agent who serves a community with a large Somali population, many of whom are devout Muslims, hosted a training session with an expert on Islamic finance for this underserved community. The Sharia law that forms the basis of Islamic banking prohibits charging interests, and so traditional lenders won't work. So expecting only 10 or so attendees, she actually hosted 75 people who were ready, able, and willing clients who wanted to buy or sell property. And then another example is an agent fluent in Spanish started a home buyer seminars with Spanish-speaking title attorneys and lenders to teach people about how home buying works, and built a large business for everyone involved, with upwards of 30 people coming to her seminars every 2 months. Think about that. More than 30 ready and willing leads who just needed help figuring out how to be able to make it work. And she just used Facebook ads and word of mouth to market.
Real estate in Mexico is not like real estate here in the US. You can just pay and go. You don't really need to move too many things. Once you have a contract in front of you, just sign it, give the money, and move on.
If you have the money,
It depends. It depends. You can still get mortgages and lease a lot of the properties, especially if you're a Mexican citizen. You can just own the land outright and it belongs to you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very cool. But that's why so many Hispanics have a hard time understanding why the contracts are so complicated here in the States.
They don't have enough lawyers there, is all. Must be. There's a
They have
shortage
too
of lawyers
many.
in Mexico.
They have too many. They have too many because of that issue, because it's so easy to buy property.
Okay. I thought that's why our contracts were so
That's the
complicated.
problem.
Okay, so leads are everywhere. So remember that. So don't discount anyone, especially at first glance. Learn to love searching for leads. Your business and your wallet will thank you. So one other thing, as far as not discounting anyone, I knew somebody who owned a art shop in California. And one day, and it was in a swanky location, very, very wealthy community. And one day she looked, she was in the back of the room or of her studio, and somebody came in and she saw her and she looked kind of like a beach lady, very, very just unappealing as far as her initial impression goes. And this friend of mine just let her wander for a little bit, and she thought, I should treat her like I would anybody else. And so she went up, introduced herself, started talking to her, ended up selling 4 different paintings to the lady. So first impressions aren't always right. They're not always accurate. So try to remember that. It's important to give a first impression if you can, but give people grace too. Okay, let's see what's next. Any ahas about these additional sources of leads? Okay. All right, so you've heard this before, so it just bears repeating. Capture every lead. All right, so who can remind us of the difference between leads and contacts? Does anybody have an opinion on that?
The lead becomes a contact.
Okay.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, contact is someone who is in your system, when a lead is someone you're trying to get into your system.
So it says leads are people that you have the right to have at least a one-way conversation with, and contacts are people you have permission to have a two-way conversation with. It all boils down to permission. So putting leads in your database I'm sorry about that. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble with this. As soon as you can, helps you keep track of them and allows you to stay in communication with them. So there's help for adding leads and contacts to Command. You can check out the Command Your Business course or go to answers.kw, I have a typo, .com and search for Ignite Reference Guide. So the answers.kw.com is in the chat right now, that link. All right, so this is the final, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this with you guys or not, but this is the final lesson in the lead generation segment. Before we close out this segment, let's take some time to generate your personal lead generation plan. This will be your to-do after we're done. You'll want to think about the different aspects of lead generation that we've covered and build a plan that you can execute on. So you'll want to read through the slide, the slide here. I'll give you, I don't know, you guys do they ever just like give you 5 minutes to like do something and then come back at the end or not? No? Okay. Well, okay, so this is what you'll want to do after we're done here. So your lead generation plan, connecting with your sphere, building and feeding your database, capturing leads from open houses or any other method, really. Building community with social media and capture leads. So you've probably seen this a lot. There's a lot of like neighborhood specific Facebook pages or that kind of thing. And so, or small towns. And so people will create a Facebook page with if the town's already taken with maybe a smaller segment of that town of some kind, and then try to get people into that Facebook community. There's one called Moving to Eugene. I'm sure you guys have seen it probably. And every time someone says moving to Eugene, there's like 500 agents saying, give me a call. But it's a great place to go and answer questions and help people out. Plan and execute a referral strategy. Choose a farm to focus on and consider events and seminars. Now, you're not supposed to do all of these, obviously, but just think about which of these fit your personality, fit the direction you want to take your business. Okay, that is it. So if there's any ahas, I'd love to hear them. If not, you guys are free to go. If you have any other questions too, that's great. So
I missed the first 30 minutes of the class. Was there anything that I had to touch on? Anything you can point out, Bill?
no, I mean, that was primarily just going over, I have to go back now.
Sorry, I had a call with Paul.
Okay.
I might be joining a team.
Oh, excellent.
Awesome.
We just talked about the message and the method, the 2 M's. We talked a little bit about the difference between prospecting and marketing again.
Okay.
That's primarily it. I think you came in about that time. You came in about referrals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What page on the book are we on now?
I don't have on the Ignite Session 9 book. It's 9.9, chapter 9, I think, or lesson 9.
Okay.
And we're finishing up the whole section. So
okay, sounds good. I just wanted to make sure I know what to catch up on.
okay, no worries.
Thank you, Bill.
You bet. Anybody else?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it. I'll tell you what, I don't think you'll need this, but I'm gonna put this because Mara's great. So I'm putting my email address into the chat so that if anybody wants to email me, if I forget, Alex, if I forget your question, or Allie, if I forget your question about DISC, remind me in a week or so to follow up with you guys, okay? All right, you guys, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Go enjoy the beautiful day.
Thank you, you too.